Hi, Tom.
How are you?
Doing good. How about yourself?
Not bad. Hanging in there.
Rock on. Well, you wanted to call in. What did you want to talk to us about today?
All right. A couple things. First thing is that I was okay with not believing in God until somebody thrust the Bible upon me, and I started reading, and I started looking, I started researching, I started doing all this, things I shouldn't be doing.
I'm pretty sure you can say shit on this.
Well, I know.
That's okay.
I kind of keep a little respect factor there.
Oh, we're godless heathens over here.
Oh, okay, good.
Whatever you're comfortable with.
Yeah. Well, the way I look at it, I started researching the Bible, and I'm not getting into the details, but I've read it, and I came to the conclusion that it's just like Lord of the Rings. Mm-hmm. There's a good guy, bad guy kind of situation. There's no education factor in there. There's no reality in it. And I hate to say it, but if there was a reality, then we would, like I was speaking to Eric, if I'm not who was the one who took my call earlier?
I am?
I think I am.
Oh, probably Mark. Maybe Mark.
Mark, yeah. So I told him about duality, how people have two mindsets. One mindset is the evolutionary mindset going into school. So as you're growing up, you're 3, 5, 6, you're going through the education system, and you're taught evolution. You're taught the planets go around the sun. You're taught all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, Sunday school. There's a duality here. There's a difference of opinion. You got the believers and you got the non-believers.
There's a conflict.
And the non-believers are the ones who actually start all the wars.
Well, tell us a little bit about.
I believe that.
Can you tell us a little bit about how you felt when you discovered that there was this conflict going on?
Oh man, I was 33. My father died, and what happened was I discovered. Somebody told me, he's in heaven, this and that. I'm like, what? I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, he's dead. He died. So to make a long story short, that's when I started reading the Bible.
Okay. You were motivated to read the Bible after your father passed away and people started telling you that he's moved on to a different life.
Yeah, did you to a different world? He's in heaven.
Did you find the answers in the book?
No. You find Jesus died for your sins, and I didn't know I was a sinner. I didn't know I was such a bad person. You know what I mean? So I read that book. God, I'm evil. You could call me a demon. It makes no sense. How do we call you a sinner? And the guy who lies consistently about facts, call him a righteous man.
Sure. So
that's what bothers me. You can catch a man in a lie all day long.
Sir, I'm a little. Yes, yeah. I think I'm with you. Like the book doesn't really make a lot of sense, and I don't limit that to just.
It doesn't match up to reality.
Right. Can I ask why it's so frustrating to you, and why you can't acknowledge that there's discrepancies? Okay. What is it about the book? Yeah, go ahead.
I can explain.
Please.
The first thing is when you're taught a certain way growing up, an intelligent, thinking, critical-minded way of growing up, you're taught that. And then all of a sudden it shifts for some reason. Mm-hmm. There's a shift in your mindset. There's a shift in your thinking as you get older. Because you're older, that means you can't critically think anymore. You know what I mean?
You mean the older that you're getting, the older that you're getting, the more you're being pushed to believe things that are not in line with reality?
Yes. I don't know why that is. I don't know why. Like, for example, I have to accept the biblical version of this world around me. As I'm walking through the woods right now, I see nothing but trees, nothing but, a pathway that we created, so forth. Mm-hmm. So we're pushed to believe a reality that doesn't exist. Or maybe it does, but it's not of our knowing. I remember watching one of Matt's episodes, and Matt would say that how can I know something I don't know? How do I know there's a reality above us? How do I know there's a reality below us?
I'm a little confused,
know until you
honestly.
know.
If I could just interject, are you saying that
Yeah, go ahead.
your perception of reality is getting worse as you get older because you're being taught all these things that are probably not
Being
true?
taught, just being told what they are. And I'm like, nah, I don't believe that. I believe in medicine. I believe in.
Okay. Well, why do you?
believe in
Why
logic.
you don't believe everything that you're told, do you?
No, that's why I'm in a worse situation than I ever was.
Why are you in a worse
I'm
situation now?
Because what happens is, like I said, your mind shifts. I can't explain it. Maybe it's an evolutionary thing. Maybe it's a psychological thing. I'm not sure.
Are you around?
Mind shifts.
I'm a little curious. You're calling from Philly, is that right?
Philadelphia.
Okay. Are you involved in any local freethinkers groups or atheist related communities? Because honestly, it sounds to me like you might be better off if you were around people who were faced with these similar questions and do challenge reality. Do challenge the magical thinking that we tend to see.
Yeah.
Are you in any groups like that in your area?
No, I'm not.
Would you consider it, or even like an online community?
Yeah, I consider it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that might really help you out, honestly. And then you can make a post in a some sort of forum or group, or even meet with people face to face and express your frustration. Because more than likely, other people have gone through it, and they could probably give you some good advice too.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm definitely open to advice. I'm just not open to. Listen, when I researched the guy you had on previous, like he was raised Christian, right?
Yeah.
He was raised as a Christian man or Christian boy. He said, and then you try to find arguments that fit your belief. But what if it's the other way around? What if it's the other way around? What if what we see is what it is? That's it.
Yeah.
Not what you believe.
Yeah, we see a lot of that where people come up with a belief, or they were taught a belief, and then they look around and they try to find things that fit the belief. And yes, I do think that's sort of backwards. That we should investigate our surroundings, investigate reality as best we can, and then form our beliefs after. But it's backwards. The majority of our population in this country, at least, seems to go about it completely different.
Well, I guess you can't do nothing about it. That's the problem, because you don't know what somebody's thinking.
Well, have the conversation with people.
It's hard because you know what? Every one of my family believes.
I hear you.
Believes.
I hear you, bud.
I'm like,
I hear you.
Well, what about this?
You may have to widen your circle. You may have to widen your circle a little bit to find people who sympathize with your frustration, who do view things differently.
Yeah.
And I think that would really help with the frustration.
No, I'm frustrated in a way, but I'm frustrated because I read a book that, literally, I heard from giants were coming out of the Antarctic. I heard UFOs are everywhere. This book will make you think everything and anything.
There is a lot of broken
That's
thinking.
Scary.
Yeah, it is scary.
That's scary to me.
It is.
Because you're thinking it, and you're not with reality. As soon as you start thinking that way, you're not rational. You're not a rational person.
The mind is an interesting thing, and I don't think that these people, these are human beings doing the best they can with the brain that they have, and our brains have a lot of flaws. These are not perfect working bits of machinery.
I know.
We're subject to all sorts of different biases and misinterpretations of reality, and dialogue and questioning, I think, are the best ways out of that. And find community. Circle yourself with community who's been through this and can help you and give you advice on how to cope with this nonsense that we're seeing. Because it is frustrating, dude. I'm with you. it's one of the reasons why we do the show.
Yeah.
I can't speak for my co-host here, but we want people to see that there may be a better way of going about coming to conclusions, and that there is value in questioning, and it's a wonderful thing to have a community where you're surrounded by others who are sick of this broken thinking that we see on a daily basis.
Yep, I agree.
I'd actually like to add in here, also valuing some things that just make people uncomfortable. I mean, being able to say, I don't know, is really, really difficult. I mean, but often we find that I don't know.
When you say that,
go ahead.
When you say that to a believer, the worst part about them, the worst part about a believer is they believe that you're weak.
Right.
I swear, I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen where,
treasure it in your own life, because when you're doing that, you're giving that small bit where you're helping give them the tools to navigate through the rest of their world, right? I mean, by living your life that way, by continuing to question, by continuing to withhold and say, you know what, I don't know, and then going and looking through that, keeping that intellectual honesty makes you a model for that. And you may not get credit for it, but as people see that there is value in saying, I don't know.
But you're right. You're right there, Tom. A lot of believers think that you have to be certain and you can't question, because questioning is equivalent to doubt. And it's better to make up something and pretend that you know than to admit that you don't. And that is that is such a big challenge that we have to overcome. We need to teach children that it's okay to say, I don't know. It's okay to question. And let's go out and find the answer together. And we just don't see that. So that's why we have these shows, is to promote this mentality, to promote this different way of thinking, so that the audience can watch it and it will just change and expand outwards and hopefully make a difference.
It does make a difference, because when you hit a snag in a road, or whatever the expression is, you start challenging not your own belief, but what you do know, your own knowledge.
Yeah, and it's a liberating thing once you realize that. It's a relief when you realize that you don't have to know everything, that it's okay to say I don't know. That is a stress reliever.
Yeah,
like that just is a great thing when you come to realize that it's okay to say I don't know. And in fact, I think it's virtuous to say that you don't know when you don't.
Yep. Absolutely.
So pretty much knowing, and that's, like I said, to be honest with you, a lot of my family members kick me out of their house because I don't believe.
How old are you?
It's unbelievable. I was 37.
Okay. Well, yeah.
I really don't believe. I mean,
your lack of a belief and your way of seeing uncertainty as a virtue is scary to people, because you are a reminder to them that you don't believe, and that there are people that don't, and that's a threat. They are so inculcated with this belief that to come across somebody who doesn't, and you may be it's petrifying to them, and they may say, hey, Tom is such a good guy. He goes to work. He supports his family. He does this. He does that. He donates, but he doesn't believe. It's a real threat. Just you saying you don't believe is a big, big threat to people, and but I think it's important. If you're out, that's great. It said here when you called in, though, that you wanted to tell the difference between secular and religious. Did you want to go into that?
Secular and religious?
Weren't you?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know the difference between them two groups. Yeah, religious. I know. Well, like I said, I have a couple questions, and like I said, in reference to how the reality relates to what a book says, and as soon as I started reading, it didn't make sense to me. Even then, I read it, and I'm like, all right, I got to believe it though. If I believe it hard enough, oh my God, it's going to come to me, and it never came to me.
Some people think that if you just believe something strong enough, you can make it true, and that is just dangerous.
I can't.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the club.
My heart wasn't in it. My heart was not into it. And that's the scary part. And like I said, a lot of my family they didn't take that well at all. And I wasn't raised Catholic. I was raised Catholic. I wasn't raised Christian.
Mm-hmm. Well, Catholicism is a subset of Christianity. I was raised Catholic.
Yes, it is.
I was raised Catholic myself.
Yes.
Well, and you, even when your heart is in it, when you come to realize that, it just doesn't make sense. I mean, I absolutely empathize. Before I left the church, I thought there must have been something broken with me. And that was definitely the narrative that other people in my church pushed, was there must be something wrong with you because you don't, and you're unable to just take it on faith.
Before you go, Tom, I wanted to mention that there are support groups that are available for people like you who are frustrated. You're surrounded by others who believe this magical thinking. You can go to recoveringfromreligion.org. They have, you can chat with live agents who have been trained. You can telephone them and speak with them over the phone like you're doing now. I've even created a little Facebook group. It's 184 I Doubt It. Just search for Recovering from Religion and you'll find their website. Yeah. And then there are a whole slew. There are ex-Christian forums, people that were raised with Catholicism, and no longer believe. And there are people out there that will they'll understand where you're coming from. And I think a lot of your frustration will go away once you discover that there are a lot of people that are just as frustrated as you are.
Yeah.
And they're coming up with solutions too, which is even more encouraging. Okay. So it's not just a gripe fest.
Yeah, it's not just, exactly.
We're talking about
coming out.
Yeah, we're talking about real solutions to change things, to improve things. And that's really exciting.
That's good, though. I'll definitely look into that, and appreciate you guys talking to me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Sure thing, Tom. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you very much, guys.
All right. Bye-bye.
You have a good weekend.
You too.